Are you ready to hear an inspirational hero tale about one of our four-legged friends? My name is Kim, and this is Harry Hero Tales. Welcome to Season 2 of Harry Hero Tales, Animals to the Rescue. I'm your host, Kim Hegel. It has been a while. I'll be honest, I have really had a hard time coming back. If you listened to the last episode, I appreciate it, first of all. Thank you. I know it was pretty much a Debbie Downer. A lot of that, I think, was therapeutic for me. I'm sure it wasn't a pleasant listen for anyone. I intended it to be informational and just to share my experience, but really it helped me. So thank you for joining me on that sad journey. It has been difficult, as I said, to come back in here. Losing my co-host, little Henry, I was not prepared for it, and I thought I was preparing myself for it, and the aftermath was pretty hard. I didn't like looking in this room, and I had a really hard time getting back into researching and writing, much less getting into the studio to record. And so I decided to take care of myself and allow the grief and whatever process for me that was to work through it. And that's what I've been doing. But that's not all I've been doing. So after a bit of really just trying to snap myself out of it, and I decided I needed to act in some way that would honor the memory of my little Henry and my co-host here. And by doing that, really immerse myself in that experience, which I'll tell you about in a second. And now I think I'm much better. Our household is doing well. I do have one elderly dog still with me that is, some days are good, some days are bad. But all in all, we have come on the other side of not having the rambunctious and center of attention and awesome little co-host that sat with me through every recording, every session, researching, setting up the studio. He'd been there from the beginning. And so I am grateful that he was with me on that part of the journey. And I will always take him with me as we move forward. But that is what today is moving forward. And I have a little bit of surprise for listeners. If you remember from the last episode, if you did sit through it and hear some of what the message was about, that pertains exactly to what this podcast is for, and hopefully to inspire, is in the midst of the heartbreak to find a way to open your heart again. And I'm excited to announce that a couple of months ago, I was able to do just that. And it came about with starting to follow some rescue groups, some new ones. I follow many. I added a new one in the Carolinas. So they have rescued, fostered, managed adoptions throughout North and South Carolina. And I found that interesting and started to follow. It is Black Tie Boston Terrier Rescue. And they had posted right after Thanksgiving an urgent message that they had a recent rescue into their organization, but it was a dog that had been found just before Thanksgiving, maybe a week or two before Thanksgiving, on the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina. And the Humane Society where the dog had been taken from wherever it was found in Charlotte was full. They did not have capacity. They reached out to the Black Tie organization asking if they could please take him and find a foster or manage his adoption. I saw the post on a Friday and it was calling to me. There was something about his photos and the story and the fact that why not me? They desperately need someone. The organization, although the fosters were either full or they were about to travel, the holidays were upon everybody. And there was no reason I couldn't do it. And I immediately messaged and we arranged within, I think, a few days to drive halfway from where he was to where I was taking him. And I picked him up. And he was not a Boston Terrier exactly. We don't really know. He's black and white, like a Boston Terrier, but he's little, like a Chihuahua. And this poor little guy was stinky. He was chewing on his skin, his arms, his paws, he was unpleasant for himself and he was pretty smelly. So that is how I brought this little black and white bundle into my home not too long ago. He's been with me ever since. And it was the right time, the right dog. I am so happy to have him with me. So I thought I would start season 2 after the tear fest of the end of season 1 with some happy news. And so I thought I'd introduce you to Owen. So this is Owen. He is probably one of the best dogs I've ever had. He is well behaved. He is very hungry all the time. He goes out, he does his business. He wants to be inside pretty quickly, doesn't chew on anything, doesn't disrupt anybody else. He is not necessarily friends with anybody else, but he certainly hasn't made himself an enemy. And he's amazing. And his name Owen is from my mother's family name. Not exactly, but it's pretty close to my mother's family name. And he is, they think, approximately 10 to 11 years old. He has a little bit of an underbite, which is quite cute. And he's just fit right in. And so I thought I would kick off season 2 with some good news and the benefits that come with opening your heart to these little guys that truly do need good homes with kind people. What do you think? Did you do pretty good? You all right? So we're not exactly sure what he is. So I'm going to bring you on another little journey. I thought it might be fun. And that is, I ordered for this little guy and really for myself, the Embark DNA test. If you're not familiar with it, it is available on Amazon. There are different versions that you can buy. Some can give you some critical health information. The one that I chose is the basic dog DNA test, and this can give you a breakdown of the different breeds that make up your dog. I used it before with Henry, which is how I learned that he was 62% Pomeranian, even though he looked, other than maybe a few features on his face, not much like a Pomeranian. And this is not a sponsor of the show. I'm truly a customer and a happy customer. It was fun to get the results. It was fun to kind of look up and see all the different makeups of what was Henry. And they also share some relatives, which was actually pretty funny. And most of them were pure Pomeranian and probably not necessarily excited to see some of the strange makeup of genetics that was my Henry, the Pomeranian. But I highly recommend it. And we're going to do the test and send it off this week. It's usually several weeks, couple of months. You get the results back. They'll send it to you, and you can look it up on their website to find out all the details that they'll share with you. They can even estimate how old they think your dog is. So that'll be nice to know how old Owen is. So after I send this off, when the results come back, in a future episode, I will share with you what little Owen is. So today's story. When I first started researching this story, the events that recently took place when it comes to Ukraine hadn't taken place. So while there may be some thought that some of my comments in here might be missing some response to some recent activity when it comes to Ukraine, I'm going to choose to leave that where it is, and everyone can form their own opinion. But this story is on the periphery of that. And I don't have an opinion on that either way that I'm going to share in this podcast. It's not what this podcast is about. But this story does have something to do with an amazing orange tabby kitten that saved its owner, who got lost in the Romanian mountains. So the cat's owner is named Vladislav Duda. He's a 28-year-old journalist from the Ukraine. He fled his homeland in order to avoid being drafted into fighting in the war with Russia. So when starting his trek out of the Ukraine in late November, he decided he couldn't leave his beloved kitten, Peach, behind. So after becoming stranded in the Carpathian mountain range that runs along northern Romania and southwest Ukraine, Duda and Peach made their way to a ravine where they stayed for days in deep snow and a temperature of 14 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about minus 10 degrees Celsius. Rescuers found them approximately a week later, soaked and frozen. During the 5-hour trek back out, Duda would not let go of Peach. He carried him under his coat the whole way back. Later, rescuers stated that he repeatedly said, "Please take care of the cat." Apparently, they had survived on melted snow and whatever food they had before it ran out about 4 days before. They were both checked out at the hospital and are expected to make a full recovery. When asked how they survived in such dangerous conditions, the director of the rescue service, Dan Benga, stated, "The cat was warm and was warming Duda, so he saved his life." I find it incredible that little Peach didn't wander off or get lost during all of that time, or die for that matter, in the severe conditions they were in. Little Peach stayed with his person. So Duda, after receiving medical attention and finding out the condition of little Peach, who also survived, he stated, "My Peach kept me alive. Peach kept my heart warm, and he kept my faith alive." Now there's a happy hero tale story and a happy ending. And I'm hoping that wherever Duda and Peach are, they are safe and warm and still together. While that only touches the surface of this amazing hairy hero, we have to leave it there for this episode. If you know of a great hairy hero tale and would like to hear it on this podcast, email us at hairyherotales@gmail.com. For more information on this program, visit our website, www.hairyherotales.com. That's TAILS.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you get your podcasts. This is a Southpaw Productions podcast, edited, produced, and hosted by me, Kim Hegel. Opening and closing music provided by Mary Selvage. You can follow her and find out her show schedule at Selvage613 on Instagram, and check out her complete catalog of music available on Spotify, Apple Music, and more. And remember, there are four-legged heroes all around us. Who knows, you might even adopt one. I've adopted many little heroes from some amazing rescue organizations, and I've featured two on my website: the All American Dachshund Rescue and the French Bulldog Rescue Network. If you're looking to rescue your next hero or would like to help with transport or financial support, I highly recommend both of these organizations. Neither are affiliated with this program in any way, but they both have my sincere gratitude and support. Thank you to all of the heroes of the world, and a special shout out to hairy heroes everywhere.